Hi, I'm Louise Brakey from Brakey & Co. I was doing a valuation the other day for a property that had been inherited, and the people that were selling it didn't really have any idea where to start. So I went through everything with them, and I thought it would be a good idea to share this property information with you as well. Selling an inherited property can be daunting. At the best of times, really. First of all, there's the emotional impact of dealing with the loss of a relative or a friend, and then there's the legal responsibilities, the paperwork and the financial matters to consider. The additional steps required to sell an inherited property can add to what is already a demanding time, so it's important to ensure that you're following the necessary steps. While the paperwork can be greatly increased, some elements of selling a property remain the same, and it's worth bearing that in mind. It's important to make the property look as visually appealing as possible, to leave the viewers with a good and lasting impression. It's worth instructing a chartered surveyor to perform a property survey so that you can take steps to rectify any major issues that could put buyers off or reduce the value of your home. The will, first of all. When inheriting a property, the first step really is to make sure that the legal side of things is absolutely covered. Make sure that the will states the name of the executors and the name of the beneficiaries. Now, an executor is a person in charge of the deceased estate, and the beneficiaries are those who are to inherit the estate. Shared ownership can make things a little trickier, but the next step is to apply for the grant of probate from the probate registry. If there's more than one executor, there's advice on the probate application form and guidance notes as well. There's also a handy guide from the government on how to do this part of the process. If you want a copy of these forms or a copy of the guidance notes, you can find the details in the links below. Second thing is apply for probate. So probate gives the executor the legal authority to act on behalf of the deceased estate. They will be given access to things like bank accounts, investments, and anything else that's relevant to the property. In terms of time frames, it usually takes the grant of probate around 6 to 8 weeks to arrive, and then finalise issues inheritance in the estate can take from about 3 to possibly 6 months. Sometimes it can take longer depending on the size of the estate. The third thing I would suggest is speak to experts. If you want to avoid extra paperwork, you can get a solicitor to act on your behalf to provide the probate services. And although you might be dealing with family members during the process, I think it's always good to cover yourself and avoid any additional arguments. If you're already thinking about doing work on the property, then it's a good idea to get a chartered surveyor in as early as possible. HMRC will also require an accurate figure for probate purposes. Number 4, I would suggest check your inheritance tax requirements. So, inheritance tax is due on estates of more than £325,000 at a rate of 40%. However, there's some variance on this. You won't have to pay any inheritance tax if it's passed to the deceased spouse or civil partner, a charity or an amateur sports club. If the deceased left the estate to their children or grandchildren, then the threshold goes up to £500,000, which also applies to adopted or fostered or stepchildren. Bear in mind, you might have to pay capital gains tax on any profits that you make from the property. That is a different kind of tax completely. Next, I would say selling advice. It's a good idea to renovate an inherited property before selling, and although it may be difficult to change a loved one's home, it's usually more desirable for any buyer once the property has been at least refreshed. Much of the decision to update will depend on your circumstances and what's best for you. It's got to feel right for you. Those looking for a quick sale will want to get the most out of their time and money with some light touches. So things like a good clear out, a fresh coat of paint in neutral colours, and even getting rid of any old carpet and replacing them with fresh new carpet or a wooden floor, it can make a major difference. Best practice when selling is always worth considering, I always think. So make sure you're allowing lots of natural light into the property and declutter rooms that have got furniture left in there for all the viewings. Don't forget, it's the outside of the property that potential buyers will see first. So be sure to tidy up the front and back gardens, jet wash any paving and get the windows cleaned and polished. It looks so much better. For more help and guidance on where to start when selling an inherited property, get in touch with our team who've got loads of experience and knowledge in every aspect of selling the home. We can guide you with the first steps and refer you to the best local people. So I hope that was helpful and thank you again. See you soon.
Reiki and Co.